All right, guys, what is up? Welcome back to another episode of Navigating Modern Dating, episode number 13. Really quickly, so we talked to Spencer today. We are going to bring back TFPOV. I'm not sure exactly what time. I think it's going to be at this time slot on Tuesdays. We might have to move this to Mondays. You guys will see when the shows are posted. We'll keep you posted. But we like doing these shows, and we're going to continue doing them weekly as much as we possibly can. So we generally are always looking for topics. So if you guys have stuff that you want us to talk about or you have stuff, send it our way. And this week, the big discourse on X, which there seems to be kind of like a topic or a flavor of the week that comes around. And this one that comes around, like the big ones are that that are always going to come around are like age gap relationships. Those are always super popular. The TradCon, trad wife, like all that kind of stuff. But there was and I'm not going to pull it up on screen because it's too, I actually muted this woman a long time ago, which is very funny because I don't ever remember who I mute. And so it's like, oh, this account you muted, which is always like funny to go back and see why. And then it's because of shit like this. So she first started with a tweet on June 11th. This is Emily K. May. There's a sex therapist who has a ritual of making out with her husband every night before bed. And so many of the comments on her post are some version of, in quotes, but what if he gets turned on and I don't want to have sex and I need men to understand and prioritize non-sexual touch? She follows it up with, it's actually a great idea to make out and cuddle every night before bed with zero pressure of it leading to sex. People's intimacy would improve tenfold if women felt safe doing this without fear of it always turning into more and someone getting mad if you don't want to. What is your visceral, guttural, instinctual reaction and commentary to that?
Well, it can't fly off the rails too hard super early, right?
Oh, let it. Yeah, we're in.
Yeah, it's just all of this to me kind of distills down to like female solipsism, where women, it's all about me, a lot of them, right? So this is like, oh, I want this. I want this non-sexual physical touch. That's what I want. That's what will make me happy. So the man needs to give it to me, right? It's like, maybe he will, but are you going to give him what he wants also, right? So that's what it's like. I'm so bad on Twitter, and I don't use an account that people will know as me because I'm so bad on Twitter. But my response is always, your husband gets up and goes to work even though he doesn't want to, because that's his job. You expect him to do that, and he may not want to do it some days, but he does it. Imagine if he was just calling off work. Oh, I don't feel like going today, right? And now there's problems in the marriage because of it. So it's kind of like that, right? Like we all have duties that, we need to do to make the people that are around us and are important to us in our life happy. And it just so happens that what men want above all else is sex. So just take care of it. And at the end of the day, the only time a woman doesn't want to jump her husband's bones all the time is when she's with a guy she's not really that into anyways. So in a normal relationship, with a man who is successful, who's competent, who's busy, who's prioritizing things other than like hanging out at home and kissing his wife on the forehead, goodnight kisses or whatever the fuck these guys are doing, like that man is going to be telling her like, get off me, I have to go to work. And so if the relationship's not like that, she's either not that into you or her hormones are messed up, and a lot of times that's birth control or SSRIs. So rule that out, and this is like not a thing.
Yeah, there are a lot of jumping off points, and that's something that we talk about a lot. And that was even a reply that I left on another because this set off a ton of discourse. Now everybody's talking about this for the entire week. And this woman's like, women are allowed to be tired. Women are like, what, they're allowed to not want to. They can be tired, or what if they're exhausted, or they're just not in the mood, or whatever. And it's like, but you can turn around and say the same thing. It's like, cool. What if I'm too tired to go to work? What if I just don't feel like it? That's completely unacceptable, right? So, but the answer is like, yeah, women don't have to feel like it. Women don't have to do it. Just like men don't have to go to work and they don't have to do it, which means men don't have to put up with this. Women don't have to put up with this. That's totally fine. But I know it's not as simple as that because most people don't have the choice and abundance to do that. But it really is. It really is the complete failure to see the men's experience at all. Like because men are driven by touch and sex and intimacy, that's how, like, it's why the love language, it's part of the reason why love languages are so fucking stupid and they're such bullshit, because every guy will tell you my love language is physical touch, and anyone who says it's not is a fucking liar, and he's doing it just to try to get pussy. So we all know that's how so the equivalent of this about getting rejected and like shot down by your wife, for most men, the female equivalent is a woman cooking a delicious dinner for her husband, placing it on the table, and he gets up and says, "Thanks for nothing, you dumb bitch," and throws it in the trash. So it's like, how willing do you think she's going to be wanting to cook dinner for him after? Like, how willing do you think, especially when it's like, oh, he should keep trying, just keep trying, try a little bit of this, try a little bit of that. But it's the fundamental difference between men and women, and only one side is shamed for their desires and what they want, and that's men. And the other side of that, we can maybe talk about too, it's like, I saw this today, and it's like Schrodinger's libido or something like that, or whatever they said, where it's like the same women that are rejecting their husbands and not having sex with them are the same ones that are demonizing them and calling them porn addicted, and they're saying porn is cheating. It's like, you're not allowed to have sex with me, but you're also not allowed to go on your phone and watch porn and jerk off. Like, what is he supposed to do? Like, where do we go from here?
Yeah, it always cracks me up when, you know, the women who are like porn is cheating. It's the same thing like the guys who, you know, are smoking weed every day and living in their parents' basement playing World of Warcraft with no job at age 40, saying like, "Oh, I want this hot 20-year-old girl who's a virgin." And I'm like, you know, there's a segment of women that men will be like, "Yeah, I'll quit porn for her, for sure." Not that porn is good anyways. Like, you know, you shouldn't watch that or I think do anything that engages the porn brain as a man. It just makes you retarded. But, you know, these women are like, they're asking for this thing that's so crazy for them to be asking for. And it ties back into their solipsism, right? Like, they can't even see how crazy it is. I was going to add something about the sex thing, and now I've lost my
him throwing the dinner in the trash, and physical touch being yeah.
This is what it was. So, like, women will never understand this. Well, like, the average woman, most men, I think, don't even really understand this either. But if you are a competent man and you do lead the women or woman you're with in a relationship, and you explain how the world works to them, they can understand this. And like, the reason that men are so concerned with whatever you want to call it, physical touch, like the validational sex from a woman, is because like how we evolved was, if I do acquire this woman and have children with her, every day when I have to protect and provide for her, I'm at more risk than if I was by myself. So it requires like the willingness for us as men to risk our lives to a greater extent to basically feed and protect more mouths. So if a woman doesn't give us this very high desire, eyes for no other men, all of this stuff that's going to make, like, if they don't give us those things, we as men, the lizard brain is like, oh, I don't trust this. I'm not risking my life for it. And that's where, you know, like, all these women, like, men will do a lot for a woman, but if the woman doesn't give them, you know, that, like, kind of like grace, right? Where the guy's like, oh, wow, you know, she's really willing to sacrifice for me. You know, she's willing to do all this crazy.
My back?
Yeah,
Was
I
it
don't
me
know
or
if
you?
it was me or you, but I lost it too.
All right, I'm back. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I don't know. I had finished my tirade and it went to spinning black screen. So
Something about men willing to die for their women and that kind of thing. Like but if he's not getting that, then he doesn't see any reason to really do it.
yeah, so like you're not gonna a woman's not gonna get the best out of a man unless she gives him the best that she can give as well. Like a man is not gonna be willing to do all of these things that a woman wants him to do unless he has some assurance that it's not gonna be all for nothing. So like the women that are spurging out about this stuff, they're also the same women that are complaining about modern men, right? Funny how that works. Like they're the ones that are stuck with the guy that wants to go 50-50 because the guy that will sacrifice and suffer isn't going to commit to a woman that's not going to show him she's highly interested and willing to do what he wants for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's crazy how this has become so mainstream, and this is something that is s- dead bedrooms or men being rejected for sex constantly and then going on the internet and like saying, oh, it's been 8 years, it's been 10 years, it's been 20 years or whatever. But these guys are locked into this thing for whatever reason. And it's like these guys are so willingly participating in their own destruction. They're like, yeah, but I would never step out. I would never cheat. I would never leave my wife. I'm just going to communicate more, or I'm just going to like, and here's the thing, man. I'm not one to say that I haven't been this kind of guy before. I mean, I remember like before I got my, unplugging moment and I figured all this stuff out. Like, yeah, man, like I dated the girl, like the chick that I was dating, a couple years ago that led to this whole thing. Um, I would consider it like a dead bedroom. I mean, it was just and I remember when we were actually broken up, the we still slept in the same bed for like a month, which is insane. But I was prideful and I'm like, I'm not going to be one of these like sleeping on the couch guys. But it was dumb. And I remember there was one morning where I think we somehow found ourselves like cuddling or holding hands or something like that. And then when we woke up, she like ripped her hand away, like as if she put it in like fucking acid or something like this. And so I know what that's like for somebody that you want to be close with that just detests you and is absolutely disgusted by you. And it was enough for me to have that happen one time. I was like, I'm done with this. Like that day, I was like, you're moving out or something's going on or something like that. I just don't know how these guys deal with this and do this every day for months upon years and just not want to blow their brains out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dead bedrooms where like the man does need to have a mirror pointed at him, and like become again, or maybe for the first time, a guy that's actually attractive to the woman he's with. But I had an interesting. I don't want to go into too many details about it, but I had a relationship in my 20s that didn't necessarily proceed into dead bedroom territory. It was definitely less frequent and less crazy monkey sex as in the beginning of the relationship. But the relationship ended, and she was still living with me for a couple of months. And holy moly, I would go out on Tinder dates and like come home, and she wouldn't know if I come home at 3 in the morning. She wouldn't know if I scored. She wouldn't know what happened. She knew I was going out to see other women because we were officially broken up. And same thing, we were sleeping in the same bed still. I only had one bed in the house. And the level of desire that like came out of her when I came home from dates with other women was unbelievable. It was just crazy. And that's at the time I was like 26, 27. And I didn't really realize what that was. I thought like she was just a deranged person. But now I understand what that is
Yeah.
because like the types of relationships that I'm in now, and like this is how women are. I actually there's something to it with pheromones too. I think like if you have the scent of another woman on you, I think it makes so like if you have a main chick and a bunch of girlfriends, do and hopefully it's open and everyone knows everything that's going on. And if it's not, just you know break that door down. But go see one of the side chicks. Because, like, the main chick is going to be the least interested in sex, typically always. Like, the one you give the most attention to is typically going to be the lowest desire just because of the comfort and all that stuff. So go see one of the side chicks. Don't shower after and come home and see what the main girl, because I guarantee, like, it will change her level of desire. I've seen it firsthand too many times. So just like the scent of another woman on you triggers something
that's
in
so
a woman's
good.
monkey brain, I'm pretty sure.
And she's got to like fight. It's like a dog. It's like a dog marking its territory, right? They
Yep.
see the scent and they have to mark over it. That's so
Yep.
good. Well, I will add in second to what you said about, yeah, some guys need to have a mirror pointed at their face. And I talked about this very briefly last week and support starting to get involved with more guys and coaching and things like that are not even necessarily in this space, but guys that just want to solve their dating problem. And, I'll run like a little post or I'll run a poll or a Q&A, and the amount of guys that are just pointing the finger and pointing the blame at everybody else except themselves. I'm because I talk about this stuff so often, like extreme ownership, personal responsibility, and accountability. You kind of sit in this world for so long that everybody starts talking about it, and then you just think it's common knowledge and this is how people do it. But it's still extremely and exceptionally rare. And I think I saw a tweet today by Ryan Stone, who I thought he kind of nailed it. It's like, okay, if your wife isn't having sex with you, you need to ask yourself, or you need to figure out, is it, will no women have sex with you, or is it just your wife? And if it's the latter, that's essentially easily solvable. Then it's step out and go get some exercise somewhere else and do that whole thing. But this is also where, and this has to get like the TradCon Christians really up in arms when you talk to them, because because their whole argument is like, marriage is a covenant, one man, one woman, cheating is adultery, that's blah, blah, blah. So it's like that guy can't win. So like, what do you say to that guy? What do you say to a guy that's just like, I'm so heavily convicted in my Christian faith that I would never step out? And it's like, it's just their suicidal empathy almost.
Yeah, I've had a lot of conversations with TradCon Christian guys, and like the idea that a married man sleeping with an unmarried woman is adultery is just feminism. Like that's not the word of God. So now if you're a married man and you sleep with another man's wife, that's adultery.
Right, different.
It's a violation of submission. So like the way that a man would be adulterous is through idolatry, which is he submits to multiple gods, right? Or he violates the submission of another man with his wife. But yeah, those guys are screwed, and it goes like those guys are totally cooked. But I think even for a regular dude, an average dude, married, wife, corporate job, retirement, all of this stuff, he needs to get exercise. All of the guys that I work with, that I coach, they all need to get exercise, and getting some exercise doesn't mean you don't love your wife. It doesn't mean you don't love your girl if you're not married. But getting some exercise points your face at a lot of extremely valuable things. Originally, when I was coaching guys, telling them to get some exercise, it was so that they could see if the GBD with, the genuine burning desire with the chick they're with has fallen or not, right? Like, has she gotten comfortable? Has she lost attraction? Because when you're with a new woman, like, it's like getting fat. You look in the mirror every day and you don't really notice the changes, and you look at a photo from 2 or 3 years ago and you're like, oh shit, what happened to me? So that's what'll happen, like when a guy who's in a long-term relationship steps out, right? He'll either see, oh man, this new chick is way more into me than the one I'm with is. That's a problem. Then he can decide how he wants to handle that. But the other side of it too is if a guy goes to step out and it's not easy, like it's a production to try to get some strange, then he knows where the problem is. It's within himself, right? And like the women that I'm with, they actually understand this, right? They understand that it will make me more attractive if I step out from time to time, because in order to do so, I must stay attractive. I
Yeah.
cannot get fat, right? I cannot get unattractive to women because then I can't get exercise. So, I'm sure there's some lovely ladies watching that don't love all of that, but it is what it is, right? Like men don't attach love to sex. Men
Yeah,
love
I think
women the same
it's
way they love their children. There's sex is a
yeah,
separate thing entirely.
yeah. I think it's going to be really interesting because you and I kind of talked about this last week, and kind of funnily enough and coincidentally enough, I'm going to start doing some coaching for women. And it's going to be likely women that are a little bit older, likely women that have got some money to them, like a lot of career-driven, career-oriented women. Like I saw something. Well, I shouldn't say this. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this after the show offline because I don't want to give anything away. But there hasn't been anything yet. But I'm just trying to work through what sort of approach that I would have because yeah, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting. It's going to sort of differ, demographics wise and age and things like that. But, there are still women like in their 40s, in their 50s that are, well, maybe not their 50s, but there's still women that are in their late 30s, even early 40s that are like, yeah, I'd like to have kids. And look, I'm not going to be that guy that tell them it's like, hey, listen, my job or my coaching will be, hey, listen, like, just tell me what you want and I will give you the straight up prescription on how to get that. You probably won't like it and you'll probably think I'm a jagoff, but I'm telling you, if you do this, it'll work. So I don't know. It'll be really interesting and we'll see how it plays out. But I want to go back to this taking this lack of like accountability and ownership because I know we dog on women a lot for it and it's more of a feature, not a bug. But for guys, like it's a bug. And I'm just seeing it more and more and more. And it's, you know, maybe that's the first step in all this. Maybe the first step. And it's like if a guy is pointing fingers at other people because women can do that. Like women can dodge accountability. They can point fingers at other people. They can play the victim if they want, and they'll still be fine. Like someone will still take care of them. Someone will still be the white knight in shining armor. That's fine. Like it'll happen. You know, there are far fewer homeless women than men, right? For a reason. But that being said, I don't know what to do or say to try to turn guys around when it comes to this. There's just this obsession with pointing the fingers and it's like how do you not put two and two together that what you're doing right now is not getting you the results that you want and that you need to change? How is continuing to do the same thing and making it everybody else's fault helping you at all? It's so mind-numbingly stupid to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just like a write off on the books.
Yeah, could
Like,
be.
for all of human history, not that many men percentage wise have reproduced.
Yeah.
And I'm sure for all of human history, there's been a bunch of men complaining about the situation that their life is in. And alongside them, there's a bunch of men that were born into the same situation in life that rose to the occasion and made something different out of it. So, what can you do other than, and I think one of the problems nowadays is the pain. It's really hard to get the pain of having a shitty life today as a man to be enough to want to make change.
True. Yeah, because you
So
can just be
it's like
comfortable.
we don't have sticks anymore. Like back in the day, you weren't competent as a man. Life was beating you with a really big stick about it every day. And nowadays there's no sticks. So this is why like with the Brotherhood and our hard meetups, you can manufacture a stick. Right?
Yeah,
You can
that's
pay
true.
the meetup fee and put this thing on the calendar and this thing is going to be a stick. It's going to if you don't train for it, it's going to be a really big stick that really beats you when you get to the meetup. And if with the meetup on your calendar, it's like this thing that's looming that you need to prepare for, and that's the stick getting ready for it. Um, I've coached some guys that didn't make the most money. I mean, they weren't like working at McDonald's or anything, but I told them, I think you should overextend yourself financially because right now, they'd be like, oh yeah, I need to make more money, but I don't really know what to do. I'm like, go get $1,000 a month car loan. You're gonna figure out real quick how to make some more money because otherwise you're gonna destroy your entire life financially.
Yeah, you're gonna have no choice.
And this is what I did kind of inadvertently like in my 20s, was as soon as I made more money, I went and got more debt or spent more money or, traveled. I was just spending it. And so, like, I was like, hey, God, I got to make more money now. I got to make more money now. So manufacturing a stick any way you can is important, but there's going to be a lot of guys that they just don't want to climb the mountain. And the rhetoric online is really bad too. The women that are spurging out about everything don't help either, because guys see that and they're like, oh, why would I do the work for these women anyways? So the champions will rise to the occasion, and the guys, this is the new natural selection maybe, man.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, that brings up a good point where it's like, I think a lot of coaching and a lot of, motivation is about, it's all about the carrot. It's like, don't you want to be this? Don't you want to be able to take care of people? Don't you want to be fit? Don't you want to have this? And it's like, maybe that's the wrong way to approach it. Maybe it's like, hey man, do you want to, there's a dating event for this company this coming Saturday, and like, hey man, like, why don't you guys come to the Zoom call? We do a Zoom call every other Wednesday. We're going to do like every Wednesday, but there's a Zoom every Wednesday. And this particular Zoom, we're going to go after all of the do's and don'ts. We're going to give you the playbook on how to show up to this thing and do well, how to actually talk to the women, how to get matches, how to get numbers, how to carry yourself, what to wear, how to dress. And maybe it's just like, hey, man, if you don't want to be a complete buffoon and you don't want to look extremely stupid and stand there with the drink in your hand like it's the high school dance and no girl's talking to you, then you better get your ass on this call. Versus, we're going to get you everything that you want. We're going to achieve it. Because I do think, and the more that I've done this and more that I've worked with men, is it's the stick and it's the pain that gets people to change. Like, people don't change. It's a really common experiment that they've done where it's people would rather not risk losing what they have to gain something more. So you're like, hey, you're fine with where you're at. If you were to risk what you have, you could get more, but then you could lose it. People would rather just say, no, I'm just going to keep what I have. Like, they're so afraid of losing things in the stick. So maybe that's something to tie into. But then it's like, then you're operating on a basis of fear and scarcity and loss. But it's like, does it really matter if it gets the job done? Like, if it gets them off their asses and fixing their shit? But is there any way to make them feel that in real time other than just saying, okay, man, don't go and not train for this event and then show up and see what happens, or go and don't prepare yourself for these dates and then see what happens and see the sting of embarrassment or a girl like standing you up or thinking you're fucking boring. I don't know. I don't even know if guys internalize that, or if they just point the finger at the women and say, though, she was a bitch, she's self-centered, she's just this woman who likes validation. Like, I don't know. The male mind is weird.
Well, and then once they do the work and they climb a little bit of the mountain and they get a couple of women that are pleasant and fun to go out with, and aren't like flipping it on them and trying to get something super serious super fast. This is what most guys want, is just to have fun and have some not too many strings attached sex, not like have a woman move in and start making decisions, right? And as soon as a guy gets that, then he's like foot off the gas pedal. So then he's got the next battle to fight, which is, once you get a taste of it, you can't just sit there and keep trying to eat it, because, eventually you're going to be a fat pig and you're going to have to do this, start the climb again if you want to get back to it. So the work never ends.
Yeah, I see these guys, and I think I see guys that are so desperate. The thing that I noticed a lot is that there seems to be, at least with married guys or divorced, like I guess divorced guys have been married before, or guys that are like serial relationships. I don't know what but they're really, really, they love to bang on the drum about, I want a relationship. Like I was talking to this guy. He's like, yeah, by the fifth meetup, by the time we've hung out like 5 times, I want to know if we're in a relationship or not. I'm like, that's insane. Even if you're only seeing the girl like once a week, after 5 weeks, I mean, that's just, to me, that's just absolutely nutso. But it's like, on the other side of the coin, if I'm saying, hey man, I'm going to try my best to get you what you want, that kind of is my dilemma, where it's, I don't think this is right for you. And it's hard for me to coach you to move towards something that I think is going to be ultimately detrimental. Now, there's some guys out there that know exactly what they want. There's some guys out there that have done the work, they've made the money, they've built the body, they understand women, and they're like, yeah, I want X, Y, Z, ABC. But that's a very small percentage of men that know what they want and can actually get it. So I'm like, cool, I can help you get there. We just need to fix some things and fix some holes in your game. But there are going to be guys out there that are just like, I want X, I want this. This is what I want. And I've got to figure out a way to prepare myself for the conversations where it's like, dude, you don't want that, right? Like, and I'll even ask a guy a very simple question. A guy is just like, I want to be in a serious relationship. And I'm like, why? Well, because I just know what I want. And it goes, yeah, but why do you want a serious relationship? What is the motivation behind that? Well, I've done the work and I've done this and that. And like, he wasn't really understanding the question. But I also think that I want to get into these guys' brains and it's like, dude, why do you want this stuff? Is it because people are telling you should want it? Is it because you're just completely alone? Is it because you think the idea that you have choice with women is so foreign to you that you need to lock onto one? What is it? So yeah, it presents a pretty interesting dilemma for me.
Yeah, this is like my coaching. A lot of it is mindset because guys are just so and you know, it comes from a place of me being there before. Guys are just so confused about what it is they want, and most of it's just the programming that's been placed upon us. A lot of it is like what women say rather than what they do, and we think this is what we should do to get women and whatever. But that's the first thing I always ask guys is, are you looking to have children? And if they're like, no, I have some, I don't want more, or if they're like, no, I don't want any, period, I'm like, okay, well, then you should understand that under no circumstances should you be exclusive to a woman, and that even if you do have a woman that you're taking seriously, probably there's like an end date on this that's 3 to 5 years max. Because eventually, the shit that sucks about the relationship will eclipse the stuff that's good about it. And there's basically no way around that. And the only way through that is by having something worth dealing with that shit for. And the only thing I think is children, as a man. And then you get into, you know, so I go down this thing, guys like, oh, well, I really want a long-term relationship. And I'm like, why? Like, why do you want that?
Why?
And it usually, like, once I get to the end of this question, usually it's like they have some thought that I don't want to keep going and looking for new women. And I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, because I'd rather just have one that I know what she's about. It all comes down to that is difficult. Getting new women is difficult.
It's hard, so I want to do the easy route. Which what they don't understand is,
well, that's a problem you can fix.
Well, yeah.
So we can solve the getting new women is difficult problem. And then once that's gone, it's like, so if you could have, you know, a new woman every day of the week, or one or two a week you could go on a date with and have a high chance of scoring and having like a short-term thing with, would you want to be in a long-term relationship? And a lot of times they're like, And then I ask them, if you could wave a magic wand and you could be with a woman that would let you step out or would help you go pick up other women and is totally cool with it and it turns her on, would that be preferable to being in a monogamous long-term relationship? And they're like, well, of course, duh. And I'm like, okay, so what are we fucking talking about then?
So what are we doing?
Now I know, and now you know what it is that you actually want. And it's not what you thought you said you wanted 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So, and then men are like, oh, but can I ask for that? It's like, you don't have to ask for anything.
Ask for
do what you
anything.
fucking want.
Yeah. Do what you want, dude. I mean, I got to talk to you about offline about this. I'll put you in touch with this guy because we were down and we training with some guys in Florida this past weekend, and I met a guy that was very like of that mindset of like the non-monogamy or the biblical polygyny kind of style. So I'll have to put you in touch with him. But yeah, it's sometimes you have these conversations with these guys and it's just like the craziest thing. So Teresa thinks you're full of shit here, by the way. So
I would have thought I was
say,
full of shit 5 years ago too.
so
I get it.
what is it? Like, give us the sauce. Like, peel back the curtain on why it turns women on.
Man, that's like a whole 8-hour show, but at the end of the day, for all of human history, like only 40-ish% of men reproduced, and basically 99% of women that made it to childbearing age reproduced. So women chose willingly to share better men. It's just hardwired. This is like all of the pre-selection that's in our brains. Like a woman that so they've done studies, right? They show women faces of men, and then they show them the same faces of men and tell them that they're married. And they ask to rate these men's attractiveness. And the man, just from the woman knowing that he's taken by another woman, makes him more attractive. Like her brain literally views his features as more attractive than they objectively are. So there's so much to this, like idea of pre-selection and how it's evolutionary. It's very similar to men's preference for women with low body counts or women that are virgins. It's like very lizard brain. There's no way that this is getting hardwired out of us. I think the only way that someone is able to look past this is with like conditioning or trauma or mental illness, basically like a nurture type of situation that has altered the natural state of their brain. So the same thing like an anorexic person has like a view of their body that is not based in reality. That would be like a man that isn't revolted by the thought of his woman's sexual past with other men. So you can maybe convince yourself or delude yourself out of it. You can have like the conditioning run so deep that you think it's crazy. And I see this like with the biblical crowd, the level of knee jerk from most Christians about adultery being different based on conditions and based on basically the idea that men and women are different to Christians makes them knee jerk so hard. It's like really mind blowing to me. Because almost all of their other beliefs, or at least a huge percentage of their other beliefs, are very much so that men and women are different, like very different. And then it's important that they're different. And we need to recognize those differences. And we have different roles. And then as soon as you say, that's exactly right, that's why a married man sleeping with an unmarried woman is not adultery. And they're like, whoa, no, in that case, men and women are the same. Right. And I'm like, okay, you're just...
Except that.
They're like, it's just this,
Special
this conditioning that like is illogical from all of the other life experiences and their beliefs that they just can't break. There's a reason we have this conditioning. It's so that we do things that people that are in power want. So yeah, it's totally normal. And some women kind of knee jerk away from it. Almost every woman I've been with in any type of open relationship has the same reaction to the first time we go through this thing, right? Where it's like, hey, do you want to watch a video of me with another woman and see what you think about it? And they're almost always like, I don't know, but I guess I'll try it for you. And then when they see it, me with another woman in front of their eyes, they're like embarrassed almost, but they're like, I don't know why, but it's kind of hot. And that's like them kind of breaking out of that conditioning. And this is basically universal. And the only types of women that I've seen that don't have some of this are women that had like something happen to them in their life that makes it harder to accept like their nature.
Yeah.
You see, and it's going to be a problem on YouTube maybe, but you see this with women.
Who cares?
With the idea of CNC, consensual non-consent in the bedroom. Typically the only women that aren't into this to some extent or a very large extent are women who had a sexual trauma.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's like the nurture can kind of mess up the nature. You see this with like the Transformers, right? Like the nurture can mess up the nature. We can believe things that don't make any sense because of adverse life experiences.
Well, we can also just like brute force our brains to believe stuff that didn't happen or that has no foundational basis in reality. Like we do this all the time. Like the human brain and human mind is extremely powerful. So it's like you could be rejecting something or you could be out to lunch on something because it's just something you tell yourself. It's not like an actually natural, deeply foundationally held belief. And I think that's with most. So to your right, I think it's like it's not the fact that they're like, oh no, I know in my heart of heart that I don't like that and I'm not into that. It's just it's conditioning from other outside sources, and it's all that stuff running through their brain. It's shame. What if somebody finds out? What will my parents think of me or my friends or whoever or like my girlfriends or blah blah blah. It's like to create these weird crazy scenarios like in their mind. So yeah, and to that point, like guys do it too. Guys will wife up porn stars and prostitutes and women that have just done the extremely depraved acts and things that should only be reserved for the one man, and be like perfectly happy, and they'll bury that shame so deep down inside, or they're so sexless and they're so optionless and they're so beta, for lack of a better term, that any sort of recognition or like that's how far they're willing to go to get like love from a woman. They're willing to take like the town bicycle or a woman that is and maybe we're the crazy ones because like we live in a world now where porn stars and prostitutes are like celebrities. They've got huge podcasts. Like 30 years ago, I mean, even 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, it was like these were not mainstream people. Now it's these people are everywhere. They're on like podcasts and they're talking about XYZ and, it's become like mainstream and acceptable and people are doing OnlyFans and all this kind of crazy stuff. So yeah, I think we're so much more in tune with our hard wiring than most people will like to admit, but it is really impressive to see the lengths of people that will fight their intuitive nature just because like it doesn't serve them in a way.
Yeah, and I guess something I didn't touch on with like this pre-selection thing. I think a majority of the confusion.
Yeah, they all think they're not conditioned. Like you're all conditioned, by the way. Like you all
so
are.
I think a majority of confusion from women, and it still comes back to like men and women being the same rather than different and basically opposites, is women think about it from their lens, right? So a woman knows, like every woman knows deep down, if I ever had the desire to be with another man, it means I don't love the man I'm with. Because if I did love the man I'm with, I'd have eyes only for him. And so then women then think that that applies to men. And that's not how it works for men. Because like the way that men express and feel love is very different than the way that women express and feel love, at least to the opposite sex. Like for men, it's a totally separate thing than the protector, provider, leader, and guider. Kind of like one conditional love that men feel to, their women basically one conditionally as long as you don't have sex with another guy, and to their children one conditionally basically as long as you don't become a serial killer or something like that.
Or a stripper.
Like the way that men feel about sex is something totally different. But for women, the way that women feel about sex is that which none greater can be conceived, their hypergamous best, the man that's in their orbit that they're attracted to, they love him conditionally, and they attach their sex drive to it, and they attach it only to it. So this idea like that, like, I want my man to be mine and no one else's, that's like thinking that like what the way that he loves you is the same as how you love him. And it's not, right? Like, as long as you don't sleep with another guy, this guy will love you basically unconditionally.
Yeah.
The way that you love him is he must be the greatest thing in your orbit.
Yeah. We've
Otherwise, you
got
want
a way
nothing to do
bigger
with him.
burden of performance, I'd say. Like, we're like, just don't fuck any other dudes. And she's like, you have to be the greatest thing on planet Earth that is my North Star and is my entire world that my life revolves around. Yeah. I've never actually thought about it like that. That's very fun. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and you hear this like women want a man who could step out but doesn't. And it's like not really true. Like, of course, they want a man who could step out, but
They just want to leave
I would argue that they want a man that could step out and does even more.
and comes back. Like, they just don't want him to leave, right? Because that's their big fear. Women will cope and say, like, oh, what if he, gets another girl pregnant? It's like, no, use that, because that is a risk of him leaving. What if he gives me an STD? It's like, it's just, there's really, like, all it can be boiled down to is, I don't want the guy that I love the most, that I only have eyes for, to choose another woman over me. And in reality, like, guys don't, at least if you're that motherfucker, right? There are guys out there that will choose women just on sex. Like, we've seen it. How many times have we seen that's the number one excuse that guys will give? It's like, yeah, man, she like slaps me around and like calls me a piece of shit and makes me look bad in front of my friends and is like kind of a fucking bitch all the time. And I never really get laid unless it's like my birthday or a special holiday. But she's like really hot. She's like the hottest chick like I've ever been with, man. And like, that's worth it. So, but guys that have options don't choose women just based on sex. And a lot of women don't understand that. It's like, that's like the baseline thing. If a guy is going to get laid, he's like, if he's spending time with a woman not getting laid, like, he's not going to waste his time with a woman he's not getting laid. That's baseline. We talk about this all the time. It's like, he's not going to leave based on just like a physical thing. It's just not going to happen. But women, because they don't understand the way guys view and think about sex and operate, they don't see that, because they think if they're fucking another guy, that she's already left her husband or boyfriend or whatever in her mind. It's just kind of the way that and you're right. So they're applying the way they think about sex and love and relationships, and they're projecting it onto men. And because we live in a femme-centric society, the way that women think about love, sex, and relationships is correct. And the way we think about love, sex, and relationships is wrong, and caveman, and knuckle dragger, and misogyny, and all these other things.
Yeah, the whole I don't want to let my man step out because I'm afraid he's going to leave me thing is just so crazy and makes no sense. Right? If you lined up 100 guys and said, imagine this woman, like you describe this woman who's got this fear in her mind, right? And you're dating her, and she says, as long as you're careful about it and safe, and I trust you to be so, you can go sleep with other women, and that's okay. That guy is not leaving that chick. That is the single thing that is going to make him least likely to leave that woman. So women are like, oh, I don't want to let him step out because I'm afraid he's going to leave me. And it's like, actually, letting him step out is the single thing that will make him least likely to leave you.
Yeah, it's like, wait, you don't want him to leave, so you refuse to give him you refuse to use the ace in the hole that guarantees that he's not going to step out. Because like you said, right, like, it's two things. Let's say she does say, okay, like, I'm cool with it, don't embarrass me, whatever. I guess the guy could figure out that, well, I guess this would be, because the example you gave earlier was like more like a dead bedroom-esque. It was, will this guy be able to actually get other women? If no, then he knows there's a problem. But what about for a guy that can't, like, see where I'm going with this? Because but her fears, you're saying, are unfoundational, because this guy is just not. He's not going to find, or he's not going out and seeking for a girl to step out with or to wife up or anything like that.
Well, I've changed quite a few women's minds on this idea over the past few years, and basically, there's two reasons a woman goes from being in a relationship to not being in a relationship, essentially. And the two reasons are, number one, the man she's with becomes unattractive. And number two is the man she's with
He
cheated on
sleeps
her.
with another chick. Yeah.
Those are basically the only
That's
two
it.
reasons.
It's the only
And I'm
things I've
I'm
ever heard.
What if there's a way, and I know this way, that
might
I
sound
can
crazy.
make it so that neither of these things can ever
Ever
happen
happen.
again, and only one thing has to change in your relationship? And they're like, what? I'm like, you let him step out. That's it. Because he must remain attractive to be able to do so. And he's going to do so. He's going to exercise his options. And then you're letting him sleep with other women. So you're not going to leave him because he did it. That's it. Problem solved.
Yeah, I guess what about the women that are like, I mean, I'm sure there are women out there that are perfectly fine with the guy that they quote unquote settled for. It's almost like I don't want him to step out because I don't want to have to stay attractive. And I like not fucking my husband. I like having the dishes done and the floors swept and the kids put to bed on time and picked up from school and I get to hang out and eat ice cream and watch The Real Housewives. I'm cool with that. So why would I ever allow my guy to step out because I like what I've got going on? So absolutely not. But are you saying then that eventually that guy will become so unattractive that she's going to bounce anyway?
Well, so that's when you get back to like the whole thing, like full circle, right? So it's like the only reason a woman would have a problem with this is if she's worried he's going to see that some random bimbo he hooked up with is going to treat him better than his wife of 10 years. That's the only way. It's the only way you can be like, oh, this is a bad idea. So they're like, oh shit, no, we can't have him seeing that there are women that are going to treat him better than me. Because it's kind of crazy, right? Like, and I've had this conversation because this is something that comes up when I go through this with new women I'm talking to and vetting and stuff, right? Is what if you leave me for her? And I'm like, how is some bimbo that like I'm hooking up with when I'm traveling, how is she gonna treat me better than you? And if she does, I must leave you because that means you are a witch.
That means you're fucking up.
Get the steak.
I mean, it makes sense to me, man. I think we got to talk about this more on TFPOV, but I think it'll be very interesting coaching women and seeing, because I've always kind of said this. I didn't adopt this, but we've had women coaches on before that work with women. I don't know why women love working with men so much. Maybe because it's just like, maybe it's the other way around. Like female dating coaches clean up with men because men want to bang them. And so they'll listen to their advice or something like that. And maybe that's the only way that male dating coaching will work. So I better, stay in the gym or whatever. But I guess the point being, whenever I've talked to women that have coached women, they usually say there's kind of three demographics. You've got the early 20s women, early to mid 20s women which you can't tell them shit, right? Because they just have so much optionality. They're getting so much attention. They are in their prime fun phase. They're 22, 30. It might as well be 70 years away, not 8, not 7, right? So they're not going to fucking listen to you unless they come from a very strong traditional household with a man that raised them correctly. And even then, it's a risk because how many stories have we heard about preachers' daughters or highly religious households, and the minute they get on their own, it's the carousel. Number 2 demographic is like the late 30s, early 40s who will listen, who are the most willing to absorb the information and are the most willing to put into practice, but that's actually not that's not how you're going to measure the barometer of their success, because the kind of men they're going after, men their own age or even older, are not really going after them. They don't want, especially guys that still want children. They don't want 40-year-old women or 38-year-old women that can't have children, at most can maybe have one, especially if the guy hasn't had kids of his own yet. 3, and this is, I guess, where the sweet spot is that late 20 to early 30s. And we talk about the wall and simply the wall. And just for clarification, you only hit the wall once. Why don't a fucking dodo bird made up this stupid bullshit that you hit the wall twice because he's trying to sound fucking different, because you're not. it's not like women turn 30 and hit the wall and just become ugly hags. Hitting the wall has always just meant it's the woman's realization that she is no longer able to secure the attraction and the attention of higher quality men that she could earlier in her past, like early 20s. So women that have that realization are still able to have children. They're not getting the same attention they got earlier in life, but they're still able to do something about it. So I don't know. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's a concrete box. I don't know if that's a straitjacket, but we'll kind of see. But I do think, like, man, if there are going to be 40-plus-year-old women making $500,000 a year that are doctors that have never been married and have no kids, I mean, it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, man. So I guess we'll find out.
Well, maybe you can pair them up with, the poor young men that are coming up nowadays that
Maybe. Yeah.
like, for whatever reason, also have no desire to have children. You could pair up these 45-year-old doctors with them, man.
But it's like dudes
They
can
could be sugar
dudes
mamas,
can
right?
decide that in their 20s. Well, I guess it makes more sense because guys can decide that in their 20s and they can change their minds in their 60s and still have kids. So it's like I guess that makes sense. But I don't know, man. I don't know a lot of 20-year-old dudes that are like eager to be jumping with 46-year-olds or 50-year-olds or all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I guess it just kind of depends.
She buys them
PS5. PlayStation 5.
Buys them a Gallardo. Yeah, man.
Well,
yeah, man. Whatever you want.
I mean, if she's gonna buy me,
get the
Gallardo,
Blue Chew. Let's go.
Call me, dude. Fuck, like a Gallardo. Like, I mean, I might be knocking on some doors. Jesus.
Yeah, get that.
Lamborghini out of this.
Get that honey, man. That whatever that shit is, dude.
Yeah,
I'm ready for 10 rounds. It doesn't matter what you look like. Let's go.
Yeah.
Give me the Gallardo.
We'll see how it goes. I'm working on a potential another in-studio podcast. It's going to be kind of similar. I want to keep doing TFPOV because we can kind of let it fly a little more. We can just kind of talk to the women that way, but there might be something we're going to spin up. I know that you and I are still planning on doing something under the move and all that kind of stuff's been crazy. But yeah, I'm interested to learn more about this kind of stuff and talk more about this stuff. And what's really great about working with these guys is that they found me through my content. So they know the kind of guy that I am. They know the kind of stuff that I say, and they know my demeanor, and they know that I don't pull punches. And I can be a little more open here, and I can kind of talk and be flippant about this kind of stuff. I wouldn't necessarily do this on like a coaching call, but I'm really looking forward to sharing more insights and more stuff with you guys and fielding questions and things like that. And I guess the thing that I'm noticing, it's like there's not a big difference between guys that are like red pilled or unplugged and guys that aren't, because the vast majority of guys will just say they are and they'll watch the content, but they'll still do the same stupid stuff. They'll still point fingers and blame other people. They still won't get in shape or they won't make any money. They still want to blame women. And it's whether it's selective hearing, I don't know, or maybe there's actually guys out there, and I'm sure there are creators or YouTubers that are just like, yeah, women suck. Women aren't worth it. Go build your thing. Can't, like the MGTOWs, right? Like the most bullshit ass acronym that's ever existed. But in any case, so I'm looking forward to sharing more of these findings with you guys. We're going to event this Saturday. So if there's one thing I've noticed, at least being at the very first event, it's just these dudes are so stiff, man. Like they need to, they're so serious. They're not having a good time. Like they're not cracking jokes. And that's almost the thing now where I tell guys to lean into faster than anything else. It's like if she can't handle some teasing and some humor and she's not smart enough to really understand joking, or she doesn't think you're funny, you're pretty much dead in the water. So I'm not saying be a jester and dance around, but it's like you should be trying to make this girl laugh like immediately. Like it's the first thing you should be doing. I don't care how much money she makes or how old she is, where she's from, or anything like that, but if you can't say something funny that you think will land and then she thinks it's funny and goes along with you, or she can't, I'm not saying like she has to banter back with you, but if she doesn't have the capacity of having some humor and like laughing or chuckling along, then you're just dead in the water, man. Like I've seen guys try to tease girls and they take it way too seriously. They're just like sticks in the mud, and you're just like, oh my God, what a nightmare to be around this girl. Because if you can't joke with her and you can't make fun of her and you can't like hold her head under the covers after you've ripped one and do shit like that and like pants her when she's carrying a tray of food around the house, like if you can't do that stuff and she doesn't think it's funny, she can't hold you in that high esteem. Like you have to be able to bully your woman. If you can't, she's not going to see you ever as that guy. Like you need to bully the shit out of her because you need to like, she needs to know that you're always one step ahead of her physically, intellectually, all that sort of stuff. And if she is not receptive to the humor and the playfulness and the bullying, she's going to beta-tize you. What do you think about that?
You got to tell the guys at the event, man. As soon as a woman gets a little fresh, just go, "Shut up, retard." see what happens.
There was one woman that went on one of the dates because they do some matchmaking too, and I think she reported back. She was like, I can't remember who this was. It's like, yeah, I didn't really have a good time, and he said like, the restaurant was like gay and retarded or something like that. And I was like, this guy's amazing. She's like, I didn't want to see him again. He kept saying like retarded and like everything he said was retarded this, retarded that. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. I need to get this guy, we need to get this guy set up on some more dates, but we'll see how it goes. But I agree. But I think it's not just, but the guys can't internalize and own it. That's the thing. If they're just fed lines, it'll just come off as inauthentic. And I know that's not what you're saying, but in general, guys have to be able to really internalize it and really believe like this is funny. I think this is funny. And if you don't, then you're just an idiot and you're dumb and you don't understand humor because this is universal. So, I just, it's going to be interesting, man. I'm going to be able to get some time like talking to all the women, talking to all the guys. What I really noticed, I might have said this before, and this is something I'm going to, if any women are watching this, like, I don't care, or women that are like, they're not going to find this. But what I noticed at one of the events that I went to, the only event that I went to so far, so they'll do the speed dating and then everybody will do like the social hour, happy hour. They bring out food, they bring out drinks, all that kind of stuff. And the women will all bunch together and they'll like chat and yap and like do the girl talk thing. But the guys won't do the same thing. The guys just like go off on their own. They'll like grab a slider and like a beer and they'll just like sit in the corner. I'm like, dude, go talk to a fucking woman. Go talk to a dude or somebody. Go talk to me. I don't care. But when I pulled 4 or 5 girls to try to ask them about their experiences, like, hey, ladies, let me chat at you for a second. Let me talk to you. Like, what do you think about this? I work with a lot of these guys, and they're just so open to talking. And then guys they would come up and join the conversation because I did the hard part, which is like opening a group of 5 women. Like your average guy is not going to do that. So we'll kind of see. I'm going to call it like wingman in action or something like that, where I'm just going to try to see if I can get these guys talking. Because what I've noticed too, it's like if the girls are not talking to somebody within the first 5-7 minutes, they just leave. And they'll bunch together and say, oh, I think we're ready to head out. Oh, you're leaving? Oh, yeah, me too. And like 6 girls are out the door, just like that. And you're like, Jesus. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. It's going to, give me some more ideas about what to talk about, but also gives me an opportunity to help men. And then obviously hope some of these guys find this kind of stuff and who knows, man, like we'll get some real killers on our hands and we'll get to bring them out to events and that kind of thing too. So this is a really cool opportunity. But yeah, man, this has been great as always. Guys, stay tuned to what we're doing in a couple of weeks. I know that Spencer had some girls for tonight and then he had to cancel and he had some flights going on. So ladies, if you're watching this, if you ever want to come on, we'd love to have you. I know we've got some female lady watchers that are always lurking in the comments. If you want to come on and you want to use like a pseudonym, you don't have to be on camera if you really don't want to. I want to try to get new women on. Like we have a lot of repeats, which is fine. But I want to try to get more women on the podcast and talk to more. And because you talk to a woman once, you talk to her 1,000 times a lot of the time. So if you're ever interested in coming on, if that would be Imran or even Teresa or Claudia or even who was the one that used to always call in, like the farmer girl. I don't think she's around much anymore. And then Deb, like you guys are always welcome. Anything we need to know about you? What you got going on, man? Anything you need to know? Anything you need to tell the people?
Nothing yet. I like that you said any female ladies. We definitely want only female ladies on the.
True. Can't have male ladies on here or female men. You gotta be very. You never know these days. They're like, is that lady or is that lady boy? Like, no,
man, you gotta check. You gotta do wiener inspections now, dude.
That's true. We did that backstage. In case you old A's are wondering, you have to. I'm not getting kicked off YouTube. We don't have to. We don't have to do that. There's no foreskin checks on the pre-show. There's none of that. But in any case, yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in as always. If we're doing this show again, we'll try to. It'll likely be like Monday and Tuesday, or we do them both on Tuesday if we do them back to back. I'd rather have both shows in one night, but I know it's just going to depend on scheduling and travel and things like that as well. But hopefully we got some cool new stuff for you guys. I'll hopefully have some stories after this weekend and some more stuff to talk about so you guys can learn from the mistakes of others and not make them yourselves. But I hope you guys find this stuff useful. Drop a comment, like the video if you would, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let us know if there's certain topics that you guys want to see us cover. Drop them in the comments, DM us on Instagram. We're always looking for stuff that is interesting that we can just kind of riff on. So with that, we'll wrap up, and yeah, we will see you guys next week.